Hurricane Katrina was basically an attempted genocide. The aftermath of Hurricane Katrina was an attempted genocide. Prove me wrong. I would really love for you guys to prove me wrong.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Are the most beautiful creatures in the whole world, black people.
I'll always be there for you whenever you need me.
This for the little homies.
Hey guys, I know it's been quite some time since y'all have seen this beautiful bad gal, but I'm back and I'm here to talk about Hurricane Katrina. With all that's going on, I genuinely needed a break. I wanted to make a video after what happened on my birthday happened. My birthday is September 10th, by the way. But after seeing the aftermath and all of that, I'm like, you know what? Instead, what I will do is bring up an event that will show how racist this country really is. So we're going to talk about Hurricane Katrina. So I just recently watched the Hurricane Katrina documentary, Hurricane Katrina Race Against Time, produced, directed by Ryan Coogler, who also created Sinners and Black Panther. Very good watch. I know a lot of people don't have time to watch documentaries, although I really do urge you guys to watch that documentary. It's a 5 episode series, basically, of the documentary, and each episode is like 44 minutes. It is pretty lengthy a little bit, since it's like 44 minutes for each episode, but it's definitely worth the watch. So after I watched it, I genuinely wanted to make this video. I want to talk about important things that I feel like people should know, even if they didn't watch the documentary. So I'm gonna break down what I took from the documentary. I took a lot of notes, so we're gonna get right into it. So just to get right into it, they knew this shit was going to happen. They literally knew this was going to happen. And I'm going to show y'all how they knew this was going to happen. So August 27th, 2005, Ivor Van Herden, he worked at the LSU Hurricane Center. And obviously hurricane centers, they're running all these different storm surge models. And they knew it was going to surpass the levees. They knew it was going to flood the city. They knew this. They knew that that was going to happen with Hurricane Katrina. So because they knew that this was going to happen, Mayor Nagin issued a mandatory evacuation, which had never been done before. So they had sent like police officers into neighborhoods to make sure that people are leaving the city. By the very next day, so August 27th, they knew that the hurricane was going to surpass the levees and flood the city. Did they let people in New Orleans know that? Obviously the fuck not. But the very next day, August 28th, is when Katrina was labeled a Category 5 hurricane. So because of this, they opened the Superdome as like a last resort for the people that could not evacuate the state or city. One thing that I really appreciate about this documentary is all of the personal anecdotes that were put in by people from New Orleans. Like, that just adds so much more depth, so much more nuance, and so much more relativity to what was going on, not only during the hurricane, but also the aftermath, what was going on in the Superdome. I really appreciate that. So Malik Rahim, who was one of the people that lived in New Orleans, I really like that he said this in the beginning when they were talking about like the fact that this was going to happen. Malik Rahim basically said that this was a really bad time for a hurricane to hit because it's towards the end of the month. And I felt that because the end of the month means rent is due next week. Rent is due in a couple of days. People don't have no money to evacuate the city, bro. It's either they're going to pay rent in their minds because they're not knowing that the city is going to flood. I got to save money for my rent, for groceries for the week, et cetera, et cetera. So Malik was just saying, like, this was a really bad time for a hurricane to hit for poor people because by the end of the month, you don't have no money. Now we're really going to get into it. This genuinely, like, when I saw this in the documentary, this pissed me off to no end. The year before Hurricane Katrina happened, 2004, the state of Louisiana came up with Hurricane Pam, which was a plan for catastrophic events in New Orleans. They brought together state agencies, federal agencies, and local officials to put together a plan to prevent major death tolls and just chaos. basically what happened during Hurricane Katrina. So they acknowledged that at least 120,000 people were not going to be able to evacuate. And out of those 120,000 people, they counted like disabled people, elderly people, and people without motor vehicles. They had a figure, a number of people that they knew for a fact were not going to be able to evacuate. They even listed out the possible dangers that could happen in a hurricane. All of the things that they listed out in 2004 is quite literally what happened during Hurricane Katrina. Evacuees on the roof, 120 miles per hour winds, gun violence, 20 feet of water in the city. All of these things were predicted, bro. And they had a plan. Why was that plan not executed? They even created a bus system, bro. They created a bus system to assist those that did not have any means of evacuating. But what's funny is the day before Hurricane Katrina happened, the only thing that they did was send police to make sure people left. Where are the buses? The reason why the Hurricane Pan plan never happened was because of financial reasons. Right. Now, let's get into the environmental racism. Okay, let's get into that. So, cypress swamps and coastal wetlands were the greatest protection from hurricanes. So, trees would basically block the water and would cause the water to slow down so it wouldn't flood the whole city, right? These coastal wetlands that were protecting St. Bernard and the Lower Ninth Ward were slowly but surely vanishing. You want to know why they were slowly but surely vanishing? Because of oil and gas industries. Lower Ninth Ward and St. Bernard population, especially before Hurricane Katrina, was predominantly Black. Why are y'all killing the coastal wetlands that can prevent flooding in the city or help prevent a natural resource that helps prevent flooding in the city, all because of oil and gas? Y'all couldn't build it somewhere else? Right. Because of oil and gas, there's no more wetlands and there's no more protection from the flooding or the water. Now let's really get into it, honey. Let's really get into it. Like, when I tell y'all this documentary like enraged me to no end, bro. Hurricane Betsy happened in 1962, okay? It was a really catastrophic hurricane that happened in Louisiana. So after that hurricane, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers rebuilt the levees, but they did so poorly, and also they never finished building the levees, festering the damage that was done during Hurricane Katrina. And again, this has me thinking, if the population of the Lower Ninth Ward, St. Bernard, and all of these areas in New Orleans, if they were not predominantly Black, I know for a fact that those levees would have been finished. From 1962 all the way up until 2005, did nobody care to fix the fucking levees, bro? Y'all, I don't. All right. So August 29th is when the levee breaks in the Lower Ninth Ward at the Industrial Canal. 7 a.m., another levee breaks, but in 3 minutes, the water went from ground level all the way to the roof. That is fucking frightening. Like, that is literally scary because a lot of people didn't leave, bro. A lot of people dead ass stayed at home. And imagine in 3 minutes, they're gone, period. When the levees broke, there was obviously a flood of calls happening to 911. And again, personal anecdotes, they had a 911 call operator who worked during Hurricane Katrina giving her testimony, Angela M. She was recounting how busy the lines started once the levees were broken or breached. The FEMA public affairs officer, Marty Bahamamdi, or however you say it, he contacted the FEMA headquarters, to let them know that the levees are broken. Okay. At this point, there's also no electricity in the Superdome. And what is also interesting about this as well is while the levees have been breached and while the entire city is flooded, the French Quarter is not flooded. So news media outlets are in the French Quarter like, oh, this is the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. Everything is cool. Everything is fine. Everybody chilling. That was literally not the fucking case. But let's proceed. Okay, so again, this is the day after the FEMA director tried to contact the FEMA headquarters saying that the levees have been breached. Nothing has been done. Nobody's doing anything. We're just lollygagging, waiting around. Again, at this point, people at the Superdome been in there for 1 full day, well, 2 full days at this point. No electricity, no food, no water, no nothing. There's a helicopter, and the FEMA officer tried to get on a helicopter to be like, I need to see the damage for myself so I can take a picture and send it to the FEMA headquarters. Tell me why the helicopters were giving him pushback. You don't need to see that. Why you need to see that? So he had to lie. He literally had to lie and be like, the president asked me to do this. And then they were like, okay, fine. So he finally gets on the helicopter. He sees, yes, the levees have been breached. He takes a picture. And then he finally sends it. Now we're going to skip to day 3, okay? FEMA, still no answers from FEMA. It's been 3 days. No food, no water, no electricity, nothing, okay? The 3rd day is where there's a meeting that is held with the mayor, FEMA directors, Michael D. Brown, please remember his stupid ass name, with a bunch of other people. The mayor handed over a list of needs, including buses. Spoiler alert, the buses come 3 days after. So that basically means a week after the hurricane. That's when the buses finally came. But anyways, shout out to General Russell Honore. Big up him because he really did his big one. He tried his very best to help as much as he could. He met with the mayor and tried to ask for buses, food, and water as well, because obviously this is the 3rd day. Ain't nobody had no food, ain't nobody had no water. And we're talking about babies are there as well. Babies, the elderly, a lot of people are going without food and water. And we also have to understand that the convention center is also holding people as well. It's not just the Superdome. Day 3, there's dead bodies all over the Superdome. No toilets, no food again, no water. I'm going to keep on saying that over and over and over again, okay? These people have not eaten or drinking anything in 3 days at this point. And they're dead bodies at the Superdome. National Guards are not allowing anybody to leave. Why? I wish I could tell you. Instead of sending buses or food or even water bottles, FEMA Director Michael D. Brown goes on the news and labels people that have not eaten, showered, or drank any water in 3 days as thugs.
I got to tell you, the snipers, the thugs, those people, I have the First Army at my disposal. General Honore is here. There will be 30,000 National Guard troops in New Orleans.
The president decides, let me go see for myself. So George Bush flies over the Superdome to look at the Superdome.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Superintendent Eddie Compass misreported that there were snipers shooting at helicopters. His explanation was that he was just reporting whatever he was hearing without fact checking. It's like, I kind of feel bad for you when I really don't, because it's like, bro, like, what the heck? But at the end of the day, like, it's a lot going on. You know what I mean? So, like, you're hearing one thing, you're hearing another, you're just directing it. But we also have to understand that we're talking about a majority black crowd, if not 100% of the damn crowd is black. Okay? That's the first thing that I clocked when I was watching it. I'm like, I know New Orleans is black, but damn. Like, the only thing I was seeing as far as like Superdome pictures and convention centers, it was only black people and a couple of whites. And because of this misreporting, okay, there was an ongoing rumor that people at the Superdome and the convention center are thugs that are shooting at helicopters and people trying to give them aid. Bearing in mind, ain't nobody came to give them shit. And I also want to understand, like, y'all are so America is so blaringly racist that people just lost their homes. They were sitting on the roofs for days, waiting for somebody to come from a helicopter, a boat, something. And you think the first thing they thought to grab was a gun? Because of this rumor, delivery drivers abandoned trucks with food. There were literally long lines of buses that were found with food in them, but just abandoned because they were so scared of the nigger monkeys that are at the Superdome. FEMA Director Michael D. Brown, of course, adds fuel to the fire and reported that there is civil unrest. And the National Guard and local law enforcement will do their best to stop that. We're talking about thousands and thousands of people that have not even drank any water in 3 days. Have y'all ever not drank any water in 3 days? Do y'all know what that feels like? General Honore, though, he was on it, okay? He tried to plan an evacuation plan with the mayor. He also contacted FEMA to speak with the director, because at this point, like, what are we waiting on, okay? A lot of people were trying to get in contact with the FEMA director, including the FEMA officer for Louisiana. They were then notified by email that the FEMA director, Michael D. Brown, was going to dinner and to give him 30 more minutes. Mind you, this has been 3 days, bro. And you want to go to dinner at Steak 48? And these people don't even got a bottle of water with babies and infants and shit. Another rumor spread that a little girl was raped in the bathroom. Okay, and shout out to Shelton Alexander. I wish I could remember exactly what part of New Orleans he was from, but he had real footage from his camera that he was just recording the whole entire time, from before the storm, during the storm, and after. And when he heard that rumor, like he went into the Superdome and he was like, I heard, did somebody get raped in the bathroom? And everybody's confused, like, what you talking about? Like, what? And it's like, if somebody really was going around raping little girls in the bathroom, I feel like, especially if we're talking about people that haven't drank water or eaten in days and just waiting around, I'm pretty sure the people, because Black people are very empathetic humans, okay? We're not like the rest of y'all. So I'm pretty sure some things would have happened, some fights would have broke out. But the fact that everybody was just as confused as he was, they're like, nah, I ain't seen nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. Now we're moving on to day 4, okay? A pilot reported that he was being shot at, causing helicopters that were supposed to rescue the elderly to go back to where the fuck they came from. 350 buses and ambulances were sent but stopped because of the violence happening in the city. This is day 4. So instead of sending ambulance buses for transportation or even fucking water bottles, they send 4,000 national troops with an additional 12,000 to stop the looting. And it's like, okay, obviously at this point, these people are waiting around for buses that are not going to come, for water that's never going to come, for food that's never going to come. We're dealing with elderly people who probably have diabetes, people who have a lot of health issues, and babies. Yeah, I'm going to go to the fucking grocery store and take me a bag of chips. Oh my God, like, this is really like pissing me off. Like, instead of focusing on the fact of why are they looting? Oh, maybe because they haven't eaten in 4 days. They're just mad at the fact that they're looting. We all know why. It's because they're Black. Let's proceed. So there was a request to order martial law in New Orleans, okay? What made it worse was that a police officer was shot in the head in Algiers, I don't know how to pronounce that, and martial law was declared. So there's a lie spread also that civilians invaded a SWAT truck and started shooting at helicopters. And it's like, as much video footage as we have from Hurricane Katrina, how convenient is it that we don't got none of this? How convenient? Don't SWAT trucks have cameras on them or something? Like, don't they have like body record? Like, how convenient is it that there's no video footage of their trucks being stolen? And the fact that people took that and believed it because we're talking about Black people is racist. Let's proceed. I love documentaries because they always include the shit that is supposed to be included. So they had a Coast Guard that was speaking about like her experience saving people, etc. And from her perspective, she says that they were in the middle of rescuing people and she was hoisted up quickly. Like, immediately she saw a hoister but didn't see another one for another person, so she just went up and they just quickly shut the door and they flew off. And she's like, what are y'all doing? Like, there's still people on the roof. And they told her that there was a plane crash. They were lying. This is my thing with white people. Why y'all be lying so much? Like, what's gonna happen if you tell the truth? Because y'all racist, like we know. So what's gonna happen if y'all tell the truth? So once they arrived to like the wherever they're supposed to transport from, whatever, that's where she was told that everyone thought that they were missing because they didn't check in with anybody and they were just saving people for hours. So they just thought they were missing and wanted everybody to come back, leaving people on the roof. They were forced to turn around because of the shooting rumor, leaving many, many stranded, still on the roof. Day 4, by the way. This is the 4th day. And remember how I said in the beginning how all of this was planned? Like they knew that this was going to happen with Hurricane Pam, but nothing has been done. It's because they are black. Let's proceed. The people that were on the roof, lower income neighborhoods, apartment complexes, they would see the helicopters fly past them for days and just go to the affluent area, Lakeview. Fly past them and go to Lakeview to pick people and save people up from there. The American Can apartment, since no one came to help them, one black man, shout out to you, was able to evacuate 24 people. For days, helicopters would come, read their sign, and just fly off. So at the American Can apartments, they put up a sign like help or whatever they put. I'm going to put a picture. They put a sign and there'd be helicopters flying over them. Again, this is day 4. The helicopters would stop, read the sign, and fly. Y'all think if they were white, they would have stopped, read it, and flew off? I don't think so. So, as I mentioned, the convention center also had a lot of people just sitting there waiting for days, and the media never covered that. They were just covering the Superdome. Convenient. So, finally, after all of this, they finally get food and water, okay? George Bush was going on a press run, making sure people knew that looting was wrong.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Not acknowledging that these people haven't eaten, bathed, or drank any water in 4 days. Still, no buses. Troops were literally pointing guns at the elderly, women, and children, and General Honoré was telling troops to put the weapons down. I fell in love with General Honoré because, like, he's like, why are y'all pointing guns at these people that just lost everything, bro? And they've been here at the convention center in the Superdome for days, and you pointing a gun at them? What the fuck they gonna do, fam? He said, and I quote, when you're rescuing people, you do not need to point guns at them. Duh! Apparently, like, this is the thing that pisses me off. People are so racist, especially towards black people, that you have to tell them common sense. If you're saving someone, put the gun down, dumbass. Day 5. Danny Brumfield was shot by the police officer outside the convention center. Rest in paradise to Danny Brumfield. Police were riding around and he was asking, like, when are the buses coming? Now, we have to bear in mind, everybody was going to the Superdome because apparently buses were supposed to come to take them wherever they needed to go. It's the airport, bus stations, wherever they needed to go to leave New Orleans. Buses never came. So obviously people are sitting waiting around, nobody's saying nothing. You see police officers, you're like, where are the buses? Danny was like, where are the buses? He's asking the police officers, are the buses coming? The police officer rolled the window down and shoot him. Rest in paradise to Danny Brumfield. The people at the convention center were told to walk to another relief center, okay? They set up checkpoints, though. After you tell people at the convention center to go to a different relief center, you set up checkpoints and then turn them around because of what? Lawlessness? I really want to understand how y'all think the black body works. Like, if a human being has not eaten or drank any water in 4 days, do you think they have the energy to do anything? Like, okay. They also, in the documentary, there is a clip of firefighters, because, you know, they're recording themselves and stuff, and they're talking, all white, by the way, all talking about how they're so scared. Like, this is the scariest mission they have ever been on. Firefighters, y'all supposed to be fighting fires, but the scariest mission that y'all ever been on is saving people that are victims of Hurricane Katrina. That's the scariest mission. All right. No. Let's proceed. Katrina didn't bring any flooding to Algiers or West Bank, so there are no police officers in Algiers, although there were plenty of white people with guns actually killing people. Y'all send police officers and National Guards to the Superdome, but not to Algiers, where there's literally white people that are like just shooting black people for no reason. Okay, right. Henry Glover. Henry Glover was trying to get food and water for his family, and he was shot and killed by the police, okay? Edward Glover, his brother, tried to find help. He found William Tanner's and asked him to help. So they drove around and tried to find police. They put Henry in the back seat. At this point, he's bleeding. They're trying to get to a hospital. So they drive around and they see police. They find the police. Mind you, this is in Algiers. And the police beat them, stole their car, and burned the car with the body inside. And Henry Glover passed away that day. Rest in paradise to Henry Glover. Where's the police at? Oh, that was the right. So the last available exit routes were guarded with police and police dogs. Why? I would love to know. Maybe because they're black. Police officers shot 10 civilians, 5 passed away, and only one vigilante was found guilty. How convenient, how convenient. A week later, day 6 is finally when the buses come, but only 100 came. When they were put on the buses, they were not told where they were gonna go. National Guards forced people on airplanes. Like, could you imagine, like, you've been at the Superdome or the Convention Center for a week now, and they finally get some transportation, but they're putting you on an airplane. Where the fuck are y'all taking me, man? Okay. Like, this is really, like, this Hurricane Katrina documentary genuinely enraged me to no end. This was also interesting because, again, I'm from Dallas. I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. Went to elementary school in Louisville, elementary school and middle school in Louisville, and then the rest of my middle school and high school in Grand Prairie. One thing I vividly remember though in elementary school was there was an influx of new kids coming, and they were always from Louisiana. There's this ongoing joke when a teacher would announce, oh, we're getting a new student, we would know that they're from Louisiana. So it was interesting in the documentary when they were Dallas schools opened doors for refugees from New Orleans. And I'm like, that makes so much sense because there's so many new people from Louisiana moving to my apartment complex in Louisville, going to my school. It really, I saw it with my own eyes. 1 million people were forced away from New Orleans because of the aftermath. In 2006, a year after Katrina, they came up with a new gentrification plan for green spaces. Remember how I said the wet coastlands were there to protect from flooding? Now they want to create something to stop the flooding. But conveniently enough, it would mean that they would have to bulldoze all the black neighborhoods to make room for green spaces. Convenient. Obviously, this caused protests. People want to come back to New Orleans. People want to rebuild. So people protested, and then they tried to bulldoze homes. They began to bulldoze homes. They were like, no, we're not doing that. Y'all not doing this. So because of the protests, they pulled back the green space gentrification idea. They also came up with the Road Home program. That shit did not help. It only helped the rich get richer, and the grant formula was flawed. So the Road Home program was basically supposed to be a program to help people that want to come back rebuild. But the problem with that was the grant formula was flawed. So they would calculate aid based on a home's pre-storm value and not the cost of repairs. So obviously, when we're talking about the Lower Ninth Ward and other black neighborhoods in New Orleans, their homes weren't worth more than the damage. It just didn't make any sense. But obviously, when we're talking about Lakeview and higher income areas, their homes are worth a lot. So people that were already well off were granted aid, and people that were piss poor barely got any money. The road home was also like changing rules all the time. We like that. It just sounds like insurance type shit. Like just changing rules all the time. Like, oh no, today it's this and now tomorrow it's that. Like it just was frustrating people a lot more, to the point where they're just kind of like, they gave up. I am going to link a article talking about the road home program. It's an article that was posted on the Washington Post, written by Nakisha Elise Williams, whose family is from New Orleans. And she gives a lot of personal anecdotes as to how terrible that road home program was and how little it helped her own family. Now, obviously, there's been a drastic decline of the Black population in New Orleans because of Katrina. Obviously, New Orleans prices skyrocketed, so a lot of people that moved away couldn't even afford to move back. It's all just really sad. After watching that documentary, I genuinely felt like, I'm like, this sounds like a genocide. I don't care what y'all try to tell me. What's the definition of a genocide? An internationally recognized crime where acts are committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. The only reason why the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina is not legally classified as a genocide is because in order for it to be considered a genocide legally, there would need to be evidence that the government or another authority, like, I don't know, FEMA, intentionally caused the disaster or withheld aid with the goal to destroy Black communities. I feel like there's more than enough proof to show that FEMA withheld aid. The road home withheld aid. George Bush withheld aid. Can we be fucking for real? It was a damn genocide. Not Hurricane Katrina itself, but the aftermath of it was 1,000,000,000% genocide. Because why are y'all leaving thousands of people without food for more than one day? It shouldn't take more than one day to give people some fucking food, bro. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Okay, I really, 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 really urge you guys to watch that documentary in its entirety, because I very much condensed it to what I felt like is very important to know, to all of the important facts. But y'all need to see it for yourself, because the documentary is phenomenal. It's really, really good. And again, they have a lot of New Orleans natives in the documentary that talk about it themselves, and it's heartbreaking. It's disturbing, but it's also like powerful, because like I love people from Louisiana. I love people from New Orleans. Beautiful people, strong people. All right, y'all. So I'm going to end this video with nothing but peace and love. And I am going to be gone for a little while longer. You guys might not see me until like the next month, probably November-y, because I'm trying to set my little recording stuff up. This is cute and all, but it's not what I want. So I'm gonna see y'all in November. I definitely will be back. I will be more consistent when I'm back in November. Uploads will be on Mondays. I'm gonna have a lot more videos. Also, let me know what topics y'all want me to talk about, because I don't want my channel to just strictly be like factual things, because I love history. I love learning about new things. Like, I'm going to do that too, but I'm also going to do other things as well. Like, as y'all can see, I'm a little funny, so I have like a lot of different ideas that I want to post on my page. But in the meantime, just comment down below what y'all would like for me to do research on and talk about. So while I'm in the works of like making my own recording studio, I'm doing my research so I can come back better than ever. But again, I'm going to end this video with nothing but peace and love, and I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Bye.